Medical researchers at the front line in the fight against COVID-19 are now calling upon the government to consider employing broad pathogen diagnosis approaches in frontline hospitals for future detection of any novel coronavirus. In an interview with KTN News, Dr. John Waitumbe, the director at KEMRI Kisumu Laboratory, now wants rollout of whole genome sequencing machines in the frontline hospitals so that the next novel coronavirus does not find the country unawares. Here's Kevin Ogutu with that report from Kisumu.
At the Kenya Medical Research KEMRI Laboratories in Kisumu's Kondele Center, these young and dedicated assistant research officers are playing their part in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic that has claimed lives and turned economies upside down. It is here where the samples from various stations are tested for coronavirus. Dr. John Waitumbe is the director of this KEMRI laboratory, as well as the field station director. And as the world is struggling to find a vaccine for this novel virus, Waitumbe says there is need for people to take note of the lessons learned so far.
Post-COVID, we need to think how we take diagnostics that are informative of a novel virus, a mutant that has emerged. If another one comes, again, we will not know how to detect it, to know whether it's a new one, because we don't have a broad enough diagnostic that will tell us, yeah, you have a corona, it is not SARS, it's not the common cold, it's not the MERS.
And as Waitumbe focuses on the future of diagnosis, Beth Mutai, a research officer here, mulls over a possibility of looking back into this freezer farm, which is a biobank for all the studies that have been done spanning over 20 years.
We may get to a point where we would want us to know what happened before the COVID pandemic started. Now we need to do the COVID testing to see how far back COVID might have been there in our population.
This is Cobas 8800, which is one of the machines here at the KEMRI Kisumu, which is used in large testing of samples. This particular machine has been used in testing the viral load, but just to increase the capacity in the testing of COVID-19 samples, it will be used in testing viral load, HIV viral load, and the COVID-19 samples concurrently.
It can do at minimum 48 samples, but you can do 1,000 samples in a day plus. So that will help improve our capacity to be able to test when there's a large-scale demand for testing.
Kevin Ogutu, KTN News.
Moving on, since independence all the way to 1980, Kenya produced enough food for its population. But onwards, with the growing population and systemic inefficiencies, food deficits started being a concern. And now the Ministry of Agriculture says it wants to see the local farmer empowered to benefit from their products. KTN's Noah Kipkimboy with that report.
For the past 3 years, Kenya's basic food production could regularly feed 72% of the population.
Because of the constraints and the inefficiencies that have been injected into the system to discourage people from growing food.
The closure of Kenya-Tanzania border has further escalated food shortage.
The challenge that may come in is vegetables that especially this city gets from across the border.
To bridge the deficit, the government came up with a strategic food reserve to intervene in the maize market, purchasing soon after harvest and releasing during shortages.
The practice where maize is bought at above market prices and released at lower than market prices undermines the basic functioning of the food market and sustains manipulation by cartels.
To that effect, the government will no longer involve itself in the purchase, distribution and sale of maize, fertilizer and farm inputs.
The government will focus on its key role, that of creating an enabling environment for producers and traders to make and execute commercial decisions while ensuring that commercial interests, especially on imports, do not disadvantage the local producers and consumers.
Reforms in the agriculture ecosystem will see the ministry establish within the National Cereals and Produce Board the National Food Reserve, anchored on warehouse receipt system as an open trading platform that links buyers and sellers. Institutionalized within NCPB, the Food Balance Sheet Committee as a statistical and advisory organ, and create the NCPB Trading Division, which will operate a commercial agricultural hub model competing for opportunities on value and price alongside other market players in Kenya. The closure of the Kenya-Tanzania border has seen reduced food coming from Tanzania to Kenya, and this is causing quite a stir. But the reforms in the National Cereals and Produce Board and the agricultural sector in general is meant to ensure that the local farmer is empowered enough to produce for the current population. Now, Kip Kimboi, KTN News, Nairobi.